Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Susan LoPresti. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If we haven't met yet, I am a holistic health coach, a Reiki and meditation practitioner. And today I want to talk about thriving in our life. So I want to explain how you thrive in your personal life to go vigorously and to flourish while progressing towards or realizing your goals in life. So, my goal is to evaluate and embrace what is possible. How can you learn the skills you need on a daily basis to enhance your life? How do you make them second nature? How do you replace bad habits with good habits? We want to create an emotional toolkit that you could use immediately to enhance your well being. So, I want to talk about setting goals. And setting goals should be about replacing bad habits with good habits. Don't get discouraged if you fall short or you fall off the wagon altogether. Instead, learn how to anticipate falling short and make a proactive plan to get back on the saddle. Remember, every step forward is a step of progress. Rejoice in it. And I was wondering if you guys are familiar with SMART goals. That's an acronym that's been coined in the Journal Management Review in 1981 for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. It may work for management, but it can also work in helping you successfully meet your goals. So let's get into it right now. Specific. Your resolution should be absolutely clear. Making a concrete goal is really important rather than just vaguely saying, I want to lose weight. You want to have a goal. How much weight do you want to lose? And what time interval do you hope to lose that amount of weight? So, for example, 5 pounds in the next 2 months. That's going to be much more effective than just saying that you want to lose weight. And then we want to make those goals measurable. So this may seem obvious if your goal is fitness or weight loss, but it's also important if you're trying to cut back on something too. For example, you want to stop biting your nails, right? So take pictures of your nails over time so you can track your progress and how those nails grow. Logging progress into a journal or making notes on your phone or in an app designed to help you keep track of behaviors can really reinforce the progress no matter what your resolutions may be. And then you want them to be achievable. This doesn't mean that you can't have like these big goals, but trying to take big steps too fast can leave you feeling frustrated or affect other areas of your life to the point that your resolutions take over your life. For example, resolving to save money, and this is a really good one, resolving to save money in, let's say, to retire in 5 years when you're 30 years old is probably not realistic. But saving an extra $100 a month, let's say, and that's easy that you could, and if you're able to save $100 a month and you find it easy to do, you can slide that number up to an extra, let's say 200 or 300 or 400 a month, right? And that makes it more achievable. And then you want your goals to be relevant. So, is this a goal that really matters to you? Are you making it for the right reasons? If you do it out of a sense of self-hate or remorse or a strong passion at the moment, it doesn't usually last very long. But if you build up a process where you're thinking harder about what's good for you, right? You're changing the structure of your life. You're bringing people into your life who will reinforce that resolution. Then I think that you have a fighting chance. Now let's look at time bound. Like achievable, the timeline towards reaching your goals should be realistic as well. This means giving yourself enough time to do it with lots of smaller intermediate goals that you set up along the way. Focus on these small wins so you can make gradual progress. If you're building a habit, you're planning for the next decade, not the next couple of months. And then how to stay motivated. Goals fail because they're not right for you. For every goal that you set for yourself, ask yourself, is this goal created based on what someone else or society is telling you to change? Is this goal too vague? What is your realistic plan for achieving your resolution? And how will you handle setbacks? We all know that it can be hard to stay motivated, especially when we fall short of our goals. Thankfully, studies show having a sense of purpose will keep you motivated, as a sense of direction in life gives you meaning. Unfortunately, stress can rob you of this sense. In terms of achieving your goals, stress causes you to regress. In fact, if you do not address stress right away, you cannot make the changes you want in your life, and you will not feel that sense of purpose that you're looking for. The changes you want to make will be more successful if you have a deeper sense of purpose. But first, you may need to tackle stress and your energy level. So let's get you in the best shape possible to tackle those larger goals. There was a very interesting study of successful women indicated that they had failed more than they had succeeded in life. The point was that they tried and they had a plan for addressing failure. So, for those who put happiness on an unattainable pedestal, it might be time to get back to the present. Your emotions have a purpose. Pay attention to them and learn what they are telling you about yourself. Granted, you cannot always change the things that happen in your life. It's inevitable. Things are going to happen. But you can manage the way you respond emotionally. And here are some tips of remaining resilient and determined. First, you need to cultivate optimism, right? Let's look at setbacks as temporary. So let's say you're waiting for someone to call you back with something important. Don't say, she will never call me again, but you can say, she did not call me today. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You only know that she didn't call you today, but there's a great possibility that she may call you tomorrow, let's say, right? So engage in effective forecasting, like imagine your feelings in the future. And then shift your focus from negative to positive. And I know that this is difficult, and so many of us struggle with it. So you're not alone, but step back and get the big picture. Looking at the negative is a functional survival skill. You can train your brain to look for the positive. Gratitude journals are a purposeful activity to teach you to actively look at the positives in your life. Write about the things that went well for you, let's say today, right? Start small. And for 21 days straight, continue to write every day the things that went positive for you, and you'll begin to notice the good. You also need to learn to express difficult emotions. Don't push them down. There was a study done at the University of Texas. It took groups of college students and it asked them to write about their most traumatic thing that ever happened to them and to write about it for 15 minutes, 4 days in a row. They were traumatized immediately after writing, but felt better 60 to 90 minutes later. When you journal, ask yourself what you learned from the trauma, right? Do you have a better sense of self? Are you stronger than you thought you were? Have you decided to make a change in your life? And then this is important as well. You need to connect with social support. Research shows that if you have just one person that you can connect with, you are 10 times more likely to be healthy, as being isolated without connections has been shown to be equivalent of, get this, of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. When we connect with others, the calming parasympathetic part of our nervous system is stimulated, which lowers the levels of cortisol, which is our stress out hormone. Pets also count for that, by the way. So if you have a pet, that is going to help you as well as having other social connections. Also, be present. Don't overthink the past and present to the extent that we cannot live in the future, right? So we want to not always be projecting what if, what can, just live in the present moment. That's all we really have in our life. The past is the past, it's over. We can learn from the past, and the future hasn't come yet, and we don't have control. We could have goals and aspirations and hopes and desires, but at the end of the day, we really can't predict the future. So just having a positive attitude and being hopeful for what you want is really all that we could do. So let's talk about, if you're not in good shape mentally and physically, larger goals will be more difficult, if not impossible, to address. Put your mind and your body in the best condition to challenge your goals. And then I want to talk about controlling stress. Stress-induced emotions consume huge amounts of energy. Talking with a friend or a relative, joining a support group, or seeking out a psychotherapist can really help to diffuse stress. Relaxation therapies like meditation, self-hypnosis, yoga, and Tai Chi are all very effective tools for reducing stress. Now, I'm going to just give you a side note about a situation with myself personally. When I was married, my husband was an alcoholic. And initially, I wanted to keep it a secret. I didn't want people to know about it. And I really believed that I was going to be able to handle it on my own. As his disease progressed and got worse, my stress levels and my anxiety and my sadness and everything else that came along with the disease of alcoholism magnified and became worse. And I finally realized that I couldn't keep it a secret any longer. I had to seek out help. And the first thing I did was I went to Al-Anon and I got involved with Al-Anon. And I also got involved in a private therapy group that was called Significant Others. And we met once a week on a Wednesday night. And all the people in that room were the significant others of someone who had the disease of either alcoholism or drug addiction. And believe me when I tell you that those groups saved my life, because I was so stress ridden. I had such extreme stress in my life that it was breaking me down physically. I was suffering with all kinds of health issues. I had migraine headaches. I had anxiety. I developed Hashimoto's disease. You name it, I had it. I don't really want to get into all that with you, but I will tell you that having the support of these groups made a tremendous difference in my health, in my life, the way I dealt with my ex-husband, and the peace and calm that developed in my household because I learned ways to deal with this disease. And eventually, I did get strong enough to get a divorce and move on with my life. And my life has been so much better ever since. So that's my personal experience that I want to offer to you. For anyone who's in any kind of a stressful situation, the best thing that you could do for yourself is to get the support of a professional therapist or a group therapy, whatever it is for you. And you could reach out to me. I'm happy to share resources with you. So don't hesitate. You can reach me at susanlopresti.com. The next thing I want to talk about is lightening your load. One of the main reasons for fatigue is overworking, including professional, family, and social obligations. So try to streamline your list of must-do activities. Get them off your plate. Try delegating to other family members or co-workers, but you shouldn't carry the weight of the world just on your shoulders and stop thinking that no one could do it as well as you do. You can delegate responsibility and others will do it as well, maybe even better than you because they don't have as much stress as you do. This one is a no-brainer that everyone should know, but it's worth repeating, and that's exercise. Exercise, exercise, exercise. Exercise almost guarantees that you'll sleep more soundly. It also gives your cells more energy to burn and circulate oxygen. And exercising causes your body to release endorphins, which are stress hormones that in modest amounts can make you feel energized. Even a brisk daily walk will do the trick for you. You don't need to go to a gym. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need any of that. Move your body, get outside, go out in the morning or later in the day, get sunshine on your skin for natural vitamin D, but go early or go late in the evening when the sun is not that strong, and you will see a world of difference in how you look and how you feel, how you sleep, and how you handle stress. Another no-brainer, but worth mentioning, is avoid smoking. You know, smoking threatens your health. Everyone knows that. But you may not know that smoking actually siphons off your energy by causing insomnia. The nicotine in tobacco is a stimulant. So it speeds your heart rate, it raises your blood pressure, it stimulates brainwave activity that's associated with wakefulness, making it harder to fall asleep at night. And once you do fall asleep, its addictive power can kick in and awaken you in the middle of the night with a craving to have a cigarette. The other thing I want to talk about is restrict your sleep. If you think that you may be sleep deprived, try getting less sleep. This advice may sound odd, but determining how much sleep you actually need can reduce the time that you spend in bed not sleeping. So if you're having a hard time falling asleep at night, try staying up a little bit later. I'm not going to say stay on your phone or your computer or watch television, but maybe take a nice warm Epsom salt bath. Maybe read a nice motivational type book in the evening while you're in bed. put some lavender essential oils in a diffuser and diffuse your essential oils, and do things that are conducive to sleeping. But going to bed at a certain time and then laying in bed trying to fall asleep and twisting and turning is more stressful than just getting less hours of sleep. I want to talk about eating for energy. It's so much better to eat small meals and snacks every few hours than 3 large meals a day. Eating foods with a low glycemic index, whose sugars are absorbed slowly, may help you to avoid a lag in energy that typically occurs after eating quickly absorbed sugars or refined starches. And then use caffeine to your advantage. To get the energizing effects of caffeine, you have to use it carefully. It can cause insomnia, especially when consumed in large amounts or after 2 p.m. in the afternoon. You also want to limit alcohol. One of the best hedges against the mid-afternoon slump is to avoid drinking alcohol at lunchtime. If you're going to drink, do so in moderation at a time when you don't mind having your energy wind down. The next thing I want to talk about is the importance of drinking plenty of water. What's the only nutrient that has been shown to enhance performance for the most demanding endurance activities? It's not some of those pricey sports drinks. It's water. If your body is short of fluids, one of the first signs is feeling of fatigue. So you need to continue to drink water throughout the day. Next, practice mindfulness. Spend 10 minutes a day meditating to improve both your emotional and your physical well-being. The Harvard study of adult development is one of the longest running studies on happiness, with lots of good data on being happy. Aging Well focused on 6 factors which predicted healthy aging: physical activity, absence of alcohol abuse and smoking, having mature mechanisms to cope with life's ups and downs, because we're definitely all going to be challenged with life's ups and downs. So we need to learn how to cope in a mature manner, and also enjoying both a healthy weight and a stable marriage or relationship. Taking care of your body is important, but tending to your relationships is a form of self-care too. That, I think, is the revelation. Close relationships, more than money or fame, are what keep people happy throughout their lives. That's what the study basically revealed. Those ties protect people from life's discontents, helps to delay mental and physical decline, and are better predictors of long and happy lives than social class, IQ, or even your genes. How you nurture personal relationships depends on you. Does it mean that you add weekly lunch with a friend to your schedule? Do you join a local club or a sports team? Plan a monthly date night with your partner? Eat meals at the dinner table with your family more often? That's a tradition that has really fallen away. Don't underestimate the importance of those activities to good health and well-being, as the need for attachment starts in infancy and it never goes away. Let's talk about your mood. Whether positive or negative impacts your mental health and affects every aspect of your life, from how you feel about yourself to your relationships with others and your physical health. There's a strong link between good mental health and good physical health, and vice versa. In the other direction, depression and other mental health issues can contribute to digestive disorders, trouble sleeping, lack of energy, heart disease, and other health issues. There are many ways to keep your mind and your mood in optimal shape, which helps you to manage stress. Again, exercise, healthy eating, a stress reduction technique like meditation and mindfulness. When mood and mental health slip, doing something about it as early as possible can keep the change from getting worse or becoming permanent. Rigorous activity is not mandatory. Like I said, just a gentle walk can relieve stress and enhance your mood. Create a plan, have faith in your plan, and implement when the inevitable stressful situations strike. And just know that you're always going to be faced with stressful situations. Learn how to handle them effectively. All humans have a tendency to ruminate more on bad experiences than positive ones. But that means that you have to work a little harder to train your brain to conquer those negative thoughts. And here's how you could do that. Don't try to stop negative thoughts. You really can't, especially if you have a tendency to be negative. Don't try to stop them. But telling yourself, I have to stop thinking about this, only makes you think about it more. Instead, own your worries, right? When you are in this negative cycle, acknowledge it. I'm worried about money. I'm obsessing about problems at work. And then treat yourself like a friend. When you're feeling negative about yourself, ask yourself, what advice would you give a friend who was down on themselves? What would you tell your friend? Now, try to apply that advice to yourself. Also, challenge your negative thoughts. Socratic questioning is the process of challenging and changing irrational thoughts. Studies show that this method can reduce depression symptoms. So the goal is to get you from a negative mindset, like I'm a failure, to a more positive one. I've had a lot of success in my career. This is just one setback that doesn't reflect on me. I can learn from it and be better from it. Here are just a few examples that you can ask yourself to challenge negative thinking. The first thing you want to do is you want to write down your negative thought, such as, I'm having problems at work and I'm questioning my abilities. Then ask yourself, what is the evidence for this thought? Am I basing this on facts or feelings? Could I be misinterpreting the situation? How might other people view the situation differently? How might I view the situation if it happened to someone else and not me? The bottom line, negative thinking happens to all of us. But if we recognize it and challenge that thinking, we are taking a really big step towards a happier life. And studies consistently show that our own happiness is linked with the happiness of others. Optimism is part genetic, part learned. Even if you were born in a family of gloom and imminent doom, you can still find your inner ray of sunshine. After a job loss, for instance, many people may feel defeated and think, I'll never recover from this. And this happened to me. I lost my corporate job of 27 years and I was 61 years old and I was devastated. And I was thinking, how am I going to find a new job? How will I make ends meet? Who wants to hire a 61-year-old? And then I started thinking, Susan, you're a meditation practitioner. You are a podcaster. You're a Reiki healer and you're a health coach. And I was doing all of this on a part-time basis. So I decided, you know what? Look at this as a gift to be able to do the things that I truly love to do. And so I'm doing this full time now. So you have to change your mindset. You need to reframe your way of thinking. This is going to be difficult, but It's a chance to rethink your life goals like I did and find work that truly makes you happy. Thinking positive thoughts and surrounding yourself with positive people really does help. Optimism, like pessimism, can be infectious. So make a point to hang out with people who are very optimistic. There's numerous studies that support the notion that spending time in nature is good for you. We know that walking on a quiet tree-lined street can really have meaningful improvements to mental health and even physical changes in the brain. Nature walkers have quieter brains. Scans show less blood flow to the part of the brain that's associated with rumination. Some research shows that even looking at pictures of nature can improve your mood. Sunlight also makes a difference. Like I talked about earlier, seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. And in short, spending time outside or living in a space with natural light is good for your mood. A walk in the park may soothe your mind and in the process change the workings of your brain in ways that improve our mental health, according to an interesting study of the physical effects on the brain of visiting nature. Staying healthy in your 20s is strongly associated with a lower risk for heart disease in your middle age, according to the research from Northwestern University. That study showed that most people who adopted 5 healthy habits in their 20s, a lean body mass index, moderate alcohol consumption, no smoking, a healthy diet, regular physical activity, stayed healthy way into their middle age. A disproportionate amount of the weight we gain in life is accumulated in our 20s, according to the data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The average woman in the United States weighs about 150 pounds when she's 19. But by the time she's 29, she weighs 162 pounds. That's a gain of 12 pounds. An average 19-year-old man weighs 175 pounds. But by the time he hits 29, he's 9 pounds heavier, weighing in at 184 pounds. But it can be especially difficult for a young adult to focus on health, as young people often spend long hours at work, which makes it tough to exercise and eat well. They face job pressure, romantic challenges, money problems, and also family stress. Who has the time to think about long-term health in the midst of all of this? If you are in your 20s and you're listening to this, recognize that this is a crucial time that often sets the pattern for success for the rest of your life. Do your best to adopt healthy habits. For others, it's never too late. Buy a bathroom scale or use one at the gym and weigh yourself regularly. There is nothing more harmful to long-term health than carrying excess pounds, and weight tends to creep up starting in our 20s. It's pretty easy for most people to get rid of 3 to 5 pounds and much harder to get rid of 20 pounds. Keep an eye on your weight and catch your weight quickly is the best way to go. That's why I suggest buying a scale and weighing yourself at least once or twice a week. Your health goals should focus on specific behaviors, but be realistic about the outcome. Exercise does make you healthier with cardiovascular benefits in addition to weight loss benefits. However, for weight loss, you will generally have to participate in 60 minutes of moderate cardio per day. Activities like a brisk walk, like I said, bicycle riding, dancing, gardening, swimming, jogging, aerobics, will all give you cardio benefits. Intensity is relevant, but be prepared to devote 60 minutes a day in exercise to lose weight. If your goal is to improve health, only 30 minutes a day will suffice. If you do not cook or you're intimidated by cooking, my advice to you is learn to cook. This may be the best way to meet your health goals, as learning to cook will save you money and help you to eat healthy. Learning to cook means planning, shopping, cooking, and cleaning up. It takes time, more time than swinging through the drive-through, right? Cooking is the best way that you could follow a healthy diet and embrace whole grains, reduce salt and sodas, boost your intake of veggies and fruits and other nutrient-rich ingredients, and also to use healthy oils and lean, healthy protein. As you experiment with herbs and spices and new cooking techniques, you will find that you could cut down on unhealthy fats, sugar, and salt, as well as excess calories that's found in prepared foods and convenience foods or going to a restaurant. This supports your goal of developing a nutritious and enjoyable pattern that is sustainable and that will help you not only be well, but also to help you to manage your weight. Plant-based diets can improve your overall heart health. And the two most recommended diets are the DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet, because both emphasize high fiber levels and healthy fats. The DASH diet, and I'm just going to give you like a quick synopsis of it, includes plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, non-fat or low-fat dairy, lean proteins such as fish, poultry, and beans, healthy fats, for examples, nuts, seeds, and vegetable oils, and then limited salt, limited sugar, processed foods, and red meats. The Mediterranean diet includes plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, healthy fats like nuts and olive oil instead of unhealthy fats like butter, limited salt, and substituting herbs and spices instead of salt, mainly fish and poultry for protein, and with a limited amount of red meat, maybe once or twice a month. And as far as animal protein goes, and also if you're going to eat dairy, organic is always best. And I don't want to get into it here because this is already a pretty long class. So I just want to say, try to get grass-fed, 100% USDA certified organic. Busy people often eat quick meals out. Find quick meals that you can stash in your desk, like an apple or a can of nuts or I don't really believe in canned fruits, but if you're at your desk and you keep a can of peaches in your desk and you just dump out the syrup that's in there and maybe give it a rinse. It's not the most ideal, but if you can't grab a peach and you don't have access when you're at work to fruit, that's better than like going down to grab maybe a candy bar or a granola bar because they're just loaded with sugar and it's not healthy for you. That's why I say that, but I'm really not a believer in canned fruits. You want to focus on eliminating processed foods and refined carbs as well. Prepare for those busy times, right? And rejoice in the times that you can cook. You can even consider a fresh food delivery service. There's a lot of great ones out there. There are some that are plant-based. There are others that are gluten-free. There's keto one. Like you name the diet that you want to be on, whatever works for you and your body. Because I'm not a believer in telling people how to fully eat, except that you should definitely be making the majority of your diet plant-based. But so there are a lot of great cooking services out there. And if you work long hours, I think it's better to invest in a service like that than making poor decisions because you're tired and you just don't feel like cooking, which is very understandable. Vegetables offer more benefits than fruits in terms of vitamins and minerals with fewer calories, but fruits are a great way to start if you don't get much of either one. The best ways to get more fruit and veggies is to cook more meals at home with unprocessed foods. This also decreases your sodium and sugar intake and also calorie intake. Cooking with fresh whole ingredients will lead to an increase in the consumption of fruits and vegetables. Begin by cooking one meal a week. And then you can, if time, finances, or other reasons make home cooking difficult, add an extra vegetable dinner each night or replace a snack with an apple or an orange. Frozen vegetables are a great time saver with the same benefits as fresh ones, provided that there's no added sauces or anything else added. And then, like I said, canned fruits, preferably if they're not packed in syrup, but if they are, dump the syrup, rinse them out, and take it from there. But I'm really not a fan, but I just want to bring it to your attention. Check the salt content on canned vegetables also, or choose the lowest sodium. And I'm not a big fan, actually. I don't believe in canned vegetables at all, but you may have a different preference of that. So I'm telling you, you can choose them, but look for low sodium. I like frozen veggies. I think they're much better. You could get them organic. And again, just as long as the only ingredient in frozen is the vegetable. You don't want those extra sauces or any added ingredients. Do not drink your fruit juices or rely on dried fruits, as any concentrated form of fruit sugars pack a lot more calories and they add up a lot faster. Cooking at home also will save you money and creates a nurturing, supportive dinner time environment. It's also a skill and a tradition that you can pass on to your children and your grandchildren. You also want to drink water, stay hydrated. It helps you to maintain energy and prevents headaches and other dehydration effects. If you think you're hungry, when you normally aren't, there's a good chance that you're just simply thirsty. Lemons and limes are a healthy source of vitamin C. And while the juice from a quarter of a lemon or lime only has about 3.3 milligrams of vitamin C, make it a habit of drinking water with lemon or lime juice in it can boost your daily intake of this important vitamin. Adults should get between 75 to 95 milligrams of vitamin C per day, and several glasses of water with lime juice can provide a significant percentage of this guideline. So let's talk about coffee. Coffee has been shown to have strong antioxidant properties and has been linked to a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes, liver disease, Alzheimer's disease, and more. The reason for this may be impressive amount of powerful antioxidants that are found in coffee. In fact, there are studies that show that coffee provides more antioxidants in the diet than any other food group. But here's the caveat: do not add cream or sugar. Matcha tea is very high in antioxidants, more so than wild blueberries or chocolate. Did you know that matcha tea is the most nutrient-rich green tea available? Tulsi tea, also known as holy basil, has anti-inflammatory antioxidants that reduce the painful and dangerous inflammation that's associated with various forms of arthritis, cancer, degenerative neurological disorders. It also supports and strengthens many prominent areas of the body, such as inoculating the immune system, providing lung and bronchial support, and also free radicals. Kombucha tea is a potent detoxifier known for its antimicrobial and anti-cancer properties. It's a source of amino acids, antioxidants, polyphenols, probiotics, vitamins, and minerals. It also contains B12 and is a source of glucosamine, which reduces pain and inflammation, particularly in arthritis. It acts very similar to Tylenols and Advils and all of those things that wreak havoc on your liver and on your stomach. So try that instead. Ginger tea also works to reduce chronic inflammation and soothe the gut. Ginger is widely known for its antioxidant and also anti-inflammatory properties, as well as its ability to alleviate symptoms of gastrointestinal distress by relaxing and soothing the intestinal tract. A good habit to instill in children and to adopt for adults is to avoid excessive simple sugar by eliminating the most common sources of consumption. So eliminate sugary soft drinks, breakfast cereals with added sugar, adding table sugar to your foods. Excessive sugar intake has been linked to obesity and diabetes, both of which contribute to heart disease. Sugar represents empty calories with none of the important nutrients needed in a balanced diet. If you choose not to ban entire food groups, practice portion control. Portion control doesn't mean tiny portions of all foods, quite the opposite. It's okay to eat larger portions of healthy foods like fruits and vegetables. Choose smaller portions of unhealthy foods, such as sweets and alcohol and processed foods. When eating out, let your hand be your guide. A serving of protein like chicken or fish should be the size of your palm. Think 1 to 2 palms of protein. A serving of starch, preferably a whole grain such as brown rice or quinoa, should be the size of your fist. Limit high-fat condiments like salad dressings to a few tablespoons. A tablespoon is about the size of the thumb tip. Practice hara hashi bu. Hara hashi bu means eat until you are 80% full. This is important as it takes food 15 to 20 minutes to reach your stomach, and by then it may be too late. You may have already overeaten. Finally, watch the weekends. If you engage in a lot of snacking, as one study found that on Friday through Sunday, young adults consumed about 115 more calories than on other days, mainly from fat and alcohol. So be aware of that. Be aware of misleading labeling practices that could result in unwittingly consuming harmful levels of trans fats. FDA labeling rules allow manufacturers to list as zero any amounts of trans fats less than half a gram per serving. So someone who consumes only 3 servings a day of foods that each contain 0.49 grams of trans fats would quickly exceed that 0.5 gram level. There really is no safe level for artificially produced trans fats. It's best to avoid products that have any partially hydrogenated oils. Canada, among other countries, lists trans fats down to a level of 0.1 grams per serving. When you cut back, be mindful of what you are eating to replace the banned foods, as this can be counterproductive. A 26-page advisory published by the American Heart Association, created by a team cardiovascular disease prevention experts at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, helps to explain why The decade-long campaign to curb cardiovascular disease by steering the American diet away from animal fats has been less successful than it might have been, and how it inadvertently promoted expanding waistlines as an epidemic of type 2 diabetes. When people cut back on a particular nutrient, they usually replace it with something else to maintain their needed caloric input. Unfortunately, in too many cases, saturated fats and fats in general gave way to refined carbohydrates and sugars, the so-called snack well phenomenon that promoted fat-weary eaters to overindulge in high-calorie, low-nutrients foods. Some studies may have failed to show a benefit from reducing saturated fats because participants substituted margarine and other partially hydrogenated vegetable oils containing trans fats that were later shown to be even more damaging to blood vessels than animal fats. On the other hand, as Dr. Sachs' team summarized the results of 4 core trials conducted in the 1960s, lowering saturated fats and replacing it with vegetable oil rich in polyunsaturated fat, primarily soybean oil, free of trans fats, lowered coronary heart disease by 29%, similar to the benefit from taking a statin to reduce cholesterol. The team concluded that if you are truly concerned about preserving good health overall, focus on a Mediterranean diet style of eating, heavy on plant-based foods and unsaturated vegetable oils with whole grains like brown rice and bulgur, fruits and vegetables as the main source of your carbohydrates. In an interview, Dr. Sachs said the advice derived from the best research is pretty straightforward. Consume few saturated fats like butter, full-fat dairy, beef and pork fat, and coconut, palm, and palm kernel oil, and replace them with natural vegetable oils high in polyunsaturated corn, soybean, safflower, peanut, walnut, and grapeseed oils. For all of us sticking to a weight loss regimen, it gets more difficult as the day wears on, and a new study suggests the problem could lie in complex orchestra of hormones that drive hunger and signal feelings of satiety or fullness. The small group of 32 obese men and women, half of whom had a habit of binge eating, suggests that satiety hormones may be lower during the evening hours, while hunger hormones rise towards nightfall and may even be stoked higher by stressful situations. Overweight binge eating may be particularly susceptible to the influence of fluctuations in these appetite-regulating hormones. The researchers found this to be true. There's more opportunity to eat in the evening, but this study shows that hormonal responses are setting this activity up. A 2013 Harvard study of normal weight individuals that found circadian rhythm played a role in regulating appetite, and that hunger peaks in the evening and appetite is at its lowest in the morning, even though people have not eaten all night. Binge eaters show higher initial levels of ghrelin when they started the regimen in the evening compared to starting in the morning, while those who weren't binge eaters had the reverse pattern. The binge eaters also reported feeling hungry after the liquid meal and the exposure to stresses in the evening. Stress drove up hunger in all participants. but the hunger hormone, ghrelin, rose even higher if participants were subjected to stressful situations later in the day, suggesting stress may have a profound effect on hunger in the evening. We definitely know that this pattern of hormone responses increases the risk of overeating in the evening as opposed to the morning. It implies that people in our study were more vulnerable to overeating in the evening. The study suggested that people who know that they tend to overeat in the evening and at night make sure to set aside time to eat properly during the day and adopt an eating curfew and set time in the evening when they stop eating for the day. Set a kitchen is closed time. Shut off the kitchen light, move away from the kitchen, brush your teeth, and if you want anything after that, have water. At night in particular, you're tired. You had cognitive demands during the day, and you're not wanting to regulate yourself as much. And if you have food cravings, there are fewer distractions to help you resist those cravings. Hormone levels are responsive to eating patterns, and you can potentially be reconditioned if people change their eating behaviors. If you are facing a hormonal hurdle, you will have to change your eating habits first and wait for your hunger hormones to catch up. With evidence mounting that sitting for longer stretches of time is unhealthy, many of us naturally wonder how best to respond. Should we stand up, or is merely standing insufficient? A new study offers some helpful perspectives, suggesting that even a few minutes per hour of moving instead of remaining in a chair might substantially reduce the harms of oversitting. As most of us have heard by now, long bouts of sitting can increase your risk of diabetes, heart disease, obesity, kidney problems, and premature death. These risks remain elevated even if someone exercises, but then spends most of the rest of their day sitting in a chair. It's a sobering study, but these are the facts. And recently, as part of the data collection process, some participants have begun wearing monitors that objectively track their movement patterns. Otherwise, the data relies on people's recall of activities, which cannot always be reliable. So most of the participants spent most of each day sitting, right? And the scientists then checked death records for 3 or 4 years after the survey to determine how many of those participants passed away during that time. The scientists wanted to see whether standing or walking or jogging in lieu of sitting was best at extending lifespans. And what they found was unexpected. A low intensity activity like standing by itself had little effect on mortality risk. Those people in the study who spent a few minutes each hour engaged in low intensity activities did not show much of a decline in death risk compared to those who sat the most. But those who walked around after standing, replacing some of their sitting time with a light intensity activity like strolling, gained a substantial benefit in terms of mortality risk. So there's a lot to think about in regards to that, right? And I just recently put a podcast episode out on that as well. And there's a lot more research going on that. The takeaway really is many aspects of lifestyle contribute to chronic inflammation, including stress, poor diet, being overweight, and not exercising. Addressing even one of these areas is a good start to better health. And the experts all agree that physical activity and sleep are the two most important components of good health. Physical activity is almost magical in its ability to improve the quality of life. And on that note, I'm just going to say, I know this was a long class, and I hope that you stuck around for the whole class. And I want to thank you very much for being here. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you again for listening. Until the next time, be well, stay happy, and bye for now. Take good care, everyone.